Okay, Impact Wrestling No Surrender just ended, and very interesting show in some aspects. Decent enough matches throughout. Definitely setting up some interesting ideas and some ideas I'm not entirely sure about. So let's get right to it. Our first match was a kickoff show match. It was Giselle Shaw taking on Deonna Purrazzo. Purrazzo is now basically the babyface, even though she really hasn't changed too much of her mannerisms or anything. It's basically she and Chelsea Green broke up because of Shaw's constant incompetence. Drove Chelsea Green away. Purrazzo was upset, but then Shaw basically retaliated, started harassing her. She picked up this new handler named Jay Vidal, and then something else happens we'll get to. Anyway, Purrazzo hit a jumping head scissors and followed it up with a pump kick. Shaw came back and tied Purrazzo up in the apron. She hit a corkscrew elbow after that. Purrazzo came back with some forearms. She managed to lock in her armbar finisher. I can't remember what it's called. And then Jay Vidal got involved, began distracting the ref, and that enabled Savannah Evans, the former partner of Tasha Steelz, to hit the ring and hit Purrazzo with a full Nelson slam, enabling Giselle Shaw to hit the denouement for the 3 count of the victory. So, like I said, definitely setting up some interesting, finally a bit of a push for Giselle Shaw, someone I've been fairly high on recently. So, again, maybe this helps build a little bit of that to the future. Don't know how much of it is with Purrazzo right now. I know she's been looking to leave the company, probably to get back to WWE, but maybe, I'm not entirely sure, especially given what happened later tonight. But still, there's kind of something there that I don't know where exactly they're going to go with her on that. But still, decent enough match, not too shabby, but not much to speak about. After that, we had our second kickoff show match, Speedball Mike Bailey versus Jonathan Gresham. Bailey landed some big kicks to start things off. He followed that up with a big plunger to the outside. Unfortunately, he tweaked his knee in the process. That enabled Gresham to get back into the match, lock on a figure 4. Bailey then rolled out of a German suplex. Gresham followed that up with another forearm smash. At this point, the audio issue started up and the announcer started getting played over the PA speakers. Bailey hit another outside moonsault to the outside. Unfortunately, again, continued to injure his ankle or his knee. He would go for his spinning kick finisher, but he would get hurt. He did it again, he got it, but then when he went for his double stomp finisher, Gresham caught him, got him into a victory roll pin, and got the 3 count of the victory after that. Overall, this was a pretty decent match. Bailey did a good job of selling the injury. They did a good job of telling the story. Again, Gresham is kind of unique again, given his past year where he went from ROH champion to, again, something of a featured player in the, at least, ROH portion, the AEW portion of ROH, to suddenly being out of the company, and now he's in Impact, and I'm not entirely sure what exactly it is he's doing, but again, if this helps build him towards something like, maybe even an X Division shot, I'd probably be all for it. So, again, overall, this was a decent enough match to, a better match than the first one, and definitely starting to improve things. Okay, moving on to the show proper. Our first match, the show proper, was Kazarian versus Khan of The Design. The Design used to be Violent by Design, is now just run by Diener. Joe Doring is obviously off battling cancer. Eric Young has left Impact. He's probably going back to WWE. I don't know if it was ever made official yet. So it's now getting remade. He brought in, what's his name from the Dark Order? Angelus. I can't think what his first name is. And Khan, formerly Connor of the Ascension. And then Sami Callihan joined, but it seems like he's in this weird nether realm where he's an initiate and he's being browbeaten, even though it seems like he's also maybe rebelling against them, trying to destroy them from within. It's not entirely sure, but Kazarian came in, he dropped back Khan as he entered the ring. Khan came back with a big clothesline. Khan countered a crucifix bomb into a spine buster. Kazarian tripped Khan up into the rope and had a big springboard corkscrew leg drop. Kazarian dodged a top rope splash and locked on his chicken wing finisher. At this point, they started fighting again. I think Khan got to the ropes. Khan got up there trying to set up so that Callahan could hit Kazarian with the chair, but instead he wound up hitting Khan with the chair, and that enabled Kazarian to hit the Kaz Cutter for the 3 count of the victory. Afterwards, Callahan defended his actions, and they routinely said that he was not trying to hit Khan, but it seems like Diener doesn't really believe him. Yeah, this match is kind of a clunker. There's, like, storyline going into it is interesting enough, but the match itself was just kind of meh. It was not that spectacular. So then we have to move on to the Knockouts Tag Team Championship match. The Death Dolls taking on the Hex. That's Allison Kay and Marty Bell. At this point, again, the audio cut out again. We did not have the announcers being played over the PA system. There was just kind of, it was just very muffled for, I'd say, the first 6 or 7 minutes of the match, and then it kind of kicked back up again. Right off the bat, Jessica hit both members of the Hex with bionic elbow smashes. Kay and Bell then hit running knees on Jessica as she was trapped in the corner. Valkyrie got the hot tag and hit Allison Kay with a Blue Thunder Bomb. Bell blind tag in and broke up a major pinfall. It looked like we were going to get a title change, but then Jessica broke up the Hex's finisher, which the Hex marks the spot. Sorry, the double team finisher, and then that enabled Valkyrie and Jessica to hit the kick into the sick driver for the 3 count and the victory. So again, okay match. I mean, these women are all decent enough in the ring, decent hands, but it just didn't have a lot of punch to it, unfortunately. It just sort of fell apart. Like, I think, again, they're building towards something of a, Rosemary's going to have to probably turn heel or something because of the actions of Jim Mitchell, but it's really hard to say what's going to happen there. But, so yeah, again, don't know really where they're going with this, but, the match itself was not terrible. And that takes us into our next match, which was the .com match for the Digital Media Championship. Joe Hendry versus Moose. Right off the bat, Moose attacked Hendry during his entrance. He started to get weapons out, including a keyboard, a Sega Dreamcast, and an ordinary office chair, not a gaming chair. That would come later. Hendry would take Moose's robe, throw it over his face, and that kind of enabled him to get back into it. Moose came back at a Uranagi through the timekeeper's table. At this point, Moose then got a sack of what he thought was thumbtacks. It turned out to be keyboard tabs because it's a .combat match, so everything has to have some sort of computerized tie-in. At another point, Joe Hendry got out a remote control car that was designed for like a 4-year-old and tried to drive it into Moose's crotch. It didn't quite work, so he got out a larger remote control car. He picked, which unfortunately the batteries were dead, so he had to sort of pretend to throw it into Moose's groin. Then Moose kind of got back again. What did he do? He hit a choke bomb off the second rope. That's when he got out the keyboard caps. Hendry came back, he had a big superplex. He then got out an Oculus virtual reality headset device and put that on Moose's head and made Moose think that he was at the club, so you got Dancing Moose again, but then the Joe Hendry Dancing Moose song kicked up and Moose realized that he had been had. He tried to spear Hendry, but Hendry came back and he, let's see, he attacked with, what did I do? He attacked with a gaming chair at this point, used the Oculus, and then Hendry countered a roll-up into a roll-up of his own for the 3 count of the victory. This was a fun match. Again, the digitalized weapons, for lack of a better term, were funny to see. Again, a Sega Dreamcast, which it wasn't really used as a weapon. It was basically used so that Joe Hendry could do a joke flip off with it. But still, like, you know, pulling out, it's like, oh wow, there's this, and so it's like it's not just a keyboard. It's also, you know, like the previous one had cell phones in it, and you know, this had, like I said, saying a Dreamcast, an Oculus, remote controlled cars. I think there was something else that was in there. I just can't think what it was now. But again, just the quirks of the weapons I thought were really funny in that. And that leads us into not quite a match, but something, which was the Busted Open Radio Live between Tommy Dreamer and Bully Ray. Bully Ray got to start. He apologized for his actions over the last few weeks, and, you know, said he understands that Tommy doesn't want to be his friend anymore, but, you know, hey, we should at least try to make decent amends. He made analogies to the special on A&E about the NWO and how Kevin Nash couldn't, you know, had trouble talking about Scott Hall because he never really got to say goodbye to him personally. And that, you know, he said, I don't want that to be us. And Dreamer said, look, I know you're kind of lying on this, you know, I know you're lying on this. I know you always get me on these things. You're not getting me this time. But if you're willing to just put this aside and go on professionally and just, you know, we can, you know, at least tolerate each other in that aspect. And, you know, he said, look, you know, I have a... And then Dreamer, I think, was trying to say something complimentary, but he slipped up. And he said, someone like you, and that made Bully snap and throw hot coffee in Dreamer's face and then attack him with a coffee pot. He then attacked Dave LaGreca. That's it. You know, this really didn't need to be on the show at all. This could have been done next week. Yeah, this did not add anything to it. It made everything kind of grind to a halt. So yeah, that was a real disappointment. Okay, our next match is the four-way match for the to become the #1 contender for the Impact World Championship. Steve Maclin versus Brian Myers versus Heath versus PCO. Right up on the bat, the other three all ganged up on PCO, got him out of the ring. At one point, Myers and Maclin managed to work together to get PCO basically kind of semi-trapped under the ring. He would eventually emerge again. As this happened, Heath managed to catch Myers in Maclin. He caught Maclin with the wake-up call. But Myers got him out of the ring. At that point, PCO got it back in. He chokeslammed Myers. He went after Maclin again. He eventually had a PCO assault inside the ring, but Heath got in and interfered there. Eddie Edwards hit the ring after that and attacked PCO with a shovel to knock him out of the match. Heath hit the wake-up call on Myers, but then Maclin came in and hit the KIA on Heath for the 3 count of the victory. So after about a year of me calling for it, Steve Maclin is finally the #1 contender for the Impact World Championship. He's getting his shot at the Rebellion pay-per-view in April, not the next Impact show, which I'll get to later. Overall, match was pretty good. You know, like I said, I've been calling for Maclin to get this kind of opportunity, so for him to get it, but I do think it was kind of a rush job, which is weird given what happened later. We're getting to in our next match. Afterwards, Trey Miguel came out and lamented that the X Division Championship was not being defended at the show. He said, hey, this wouldn't have happened to AJ Styles or Samoa Joe or anyone like that, but, you know, no one respects me. You know, and he proceeded to egg on PCO for some reason, and he got chokeslammed for his efforts. So make that what you will. After that, we had the 6-man tag match, Time Machine. That's Kushida and the Motor City Machine Guns taking on the Bullet Club team of Kenta, Ace Austin, and Chris Bay. Early on, you finally get the matchup between Kenta and Kushida. However, Kenta does his best to just stick to the ropes so that Kushida can't get him in any type of hold. Eventually, Kenta did hit a jumping knee. Kushida and Shelley double-teamed Chris Bay for a while, and they were focusing on Bay's supposedly injured arm. Austin cut Shelley with a card. Kushida, Shelley, and Saban attacked Austin, and they put him in a crab. I think Shelley had him in a half crab. Kushida had him in a camel clutch, and then Sabin drop kicked him. Shelley put Austin in modified octopus stretch. Chris Bay blind tagged in. He hit a big planche to the outside of the ring. Again, looked like he injured himself. Kenta, who's not known for doing a lot of high-flying stuff, kind of looked like he was going to, then change his mind halfway through and just went back to the outside of the ring. The Motor City Machine Guns hit a missile dropkick into a flatliner on Bay. This is kind of the main problem they had with this match, which was there were just several points where it really should have ended, and instead we're just getting high spot after high spot after high spot after high spot. It's like, guys, can we just wrap this up? It's getting a little long-winded here. Like I said, it was a whole bunch of high spots. Sabin inadvertently kicked Shelley and Kushida. Kenta then hit a double stomp. I believe it was on Shelley. No, it was on Sabin. But they rallied back again and got Ace Austin in position for a skull and bones. But he countered that into a backslide on Sabin, I believe, for the 3 count of the victory. Like I said, not a bad match. I think some of the momentum that I've been picking up through the show had kind of ground to a halt because it was just a little too long-winded. Like I said, several points where you probably should have ended the match, about 5 or 6 minutes earlier, and instead we're just getting more and more high spots, and it's like, okay, you're doing too much. Dial it back, guys. Come on. Obviously, they're building towards, I'm guessing it's Bullet Club, it's Austin Bay against the Machine Guns at the Multiverse show, Multiverse United, which is at the end of the month, or end of March, actually. So maybe that's what they're building to, but yeah, again, like I said, it's just a little too long-winded for my taste. Okay, our next match is the Knockouts Championship match. Mickie James against Masha Slamovich. Very early on, James tried to avoid getting the rear naked choke putting on her by targeting Slamovich's arm. She did like a knee drop onto it, put her in an armbar. Slamovich countered a DDT into a stun gun. Slamovich then tried to lick Mickey's face, but Mickie responded by jumping up and biting her tongue. Not her tongue, Masha's tongue. Then Slamovich put James in a Kimura lock. James came back. She kept trying to hit the Mick kick. She could not quite get the angle on it. So, the kick where it's supposed to hit the opponent in the chin, she kept hitting her in the stomach. At that point, James did come back at a flapjack. She then tried to go up for her senton, but Slamovich kicked her off the turnbuckle. Slamovich hit the deadeye, only got a 2 count. James dodged a kick and locked on a half crab. Slamovich used the ropes to lock on a rear naked choke, but eventually James got out of that, countered a monkey flip into a pin for the 3 count. So, yeah, the storyline they started at Hard to Kill, where it seems like Mickie James is barely scraping by it with victories, is continuing until she gets a rematch with Jordynne Grace, whenever that is. Maybe Rebellion, not entirely sure. But yeah, overall this was a decent match. It was pretty fun. Did a good job of telling the story. Again, Slamovich looks like a worthy contender at some point, but obviously Jordynne Grace is probably going to be the next one up whenever that, like I said, whenever that may be. So that could turn out to be something special. Like I said, overall, pretty decent match. That was one of the higher points of the show. I think it was my second best match of the night. And so let's move on to the main event, the Impact World Championship match. Josh Alexander against Rich Swann. Early on, Swann refused the handshake, saying they'll do it after the match. Swann was definitely more aggressive in this. Early on, Alexander did block an arm bar and hit a body slam, but then Swann came back, hit big head scissors, followed with an arm drag. He landed several kicks. Swann countered an ankle lock with an enziguri and then followed that up with a running senton. Then, Swann tried to do a move off the turnbuckle, but Alexander caught him and hit a German suplex. Alexander went for a big kick and began feeling really conflicted after that. Like, he didn't like the fact that he was having to treat someone he respected with this much aggression. Swan countered a moonsault to the outside, or no, hit a corkscrew moonsault to the outside of the ring. My mistake. He did counter a moonsault also. He rolled out of the way of it. Alexander then, Swan was going for basically the lethal injection, and Alexander countered that with a crossbody headbutt. Alexander blocked a Frankensteiner and put on the ankle lock. Alexander did hit the C4 spike eventually, but just as he managed to get in position to pin Alexander, Alexander had just enough effort to roll out of the ring. Swan hit a series of kicks and a Phoenix Splash. Swan went for another Phoenix Splash, but Alexander avoided it, put on the ankle lock. Alexander then countered another lethal injection attempt into the C4 spike and got the 3 count of the victory. Really good match, really well done. Again, not a shock that Alexander won, given I think they're probably built... Although, before this, they were kind of building the idea of MacLeod taking on Rich Swann at some point. So, who knows? Maybe Swann will come back and defeat Alexander, but maybe not. I'm guessing they're going to have MacLeod and Alexander at Rebellion. So, yeah, again, kind of falls a bit into the predictability problem. That I think that's true of this whole thing. It was that this was kind of a fillery show. Like, Hard to Kill was their first pay-per-view of the year. Their second pay-per-view of the year. They're doing Impact events after this, or Impact Plus events, which are not on the pay-per-view. I know, I'm being confusing there, but yeah, it's Rebellion. So yeah, I wonder if they're maybe saving something special up for that. Like I said, overall fun match. I think that would maybe be the third match, the best match of the night. I think my favorite match of the night was the .combat match. I thought that was really fun. That did a better job of utilizing the characters and telling the story and everything. So yeah, I thought that was probably the better of the best match of the night. Like I said, overall the show itself, not terrible. A lot of fun in some aspects, but some of the matches just a little too long-winded for their own good. And not to mention that that Busted Open radio segment went nowhere. It just, you know, it didn't need to be on the show. Maybe do that on Impact. Do that on Impact. That's an Impact thing. That's not a pay-per-view thing, or a Impact Plus special, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, that made a bit. That just didn't make much sense, and unfortunately, that really did kind of drag the show down a bit. Still, it wasn't terrible, but it's definitely not a must-see, so I am going to be giving Impact Wrestling No Surrender 2023 a C. I'd like to have gone higher, but yeah, like I said, just a little too many padded out segments to make the show run longer that just didn't really need to be. I wish it had been a bit tighter show. Okay, so... the next video is going to be the random trade review on Rising Stars Volume 1. That is mostly done right now. It should be ready to go soon. This video will be going up on Saturday. The random trade review will probably be going up on Sunday. After that, it's going to be the premiere of Season 3 of The Mandalorian. And wrestling-wise... again, I wanted to do AEW Revolution. Unfortunately, right now it's just not looking like it's going to be in the cards. So we're going to be doing the next Impact special, which is Sacrifice. That's on March 24th. And then maybe the next week, which is also WrestleMania weekend, so we'll be having some fun with there. We'll do the Multiverse United, which is their big co-branded pay-per-view special with New Japan, which should be pretty fun. Okay, so yeah, that's pretty much all I want to talk about for now. I'm tired. See you all next time.
Hey guys, remember you can help me maintain and possibly even expand my professional wrestling coverage by supporting me on Patreon at patreon.com/sleepytimeforcat productions. Also, remember to like the video, comment, share, subscribe, and ring that notification bell.